I'm Miss Seaver, and today we're going to be talking about measurement. So today's objective is, here we go, lesson objective is I can measure an object twice. Not just once, but twice. How many times are we measuring? Yes, twice. Using different length, units, and compare. Relate measurement to unit size. So we're not just going to measure, but we're going to use different length units, and then we're going to compare the units and then relate the measurements to the unit size. Okay, so here we go. You ready? Okay, quick reminder that today we are measuring twice and comparing our measurements. If you happen to be watching this video from home and you do not have a ruler, you can go online to printableruler.net and print one off. So it's super easy to print out. And so here I am cutting mine out because I'm making this video at home, and I realized that I do not have a ruler at home. So just see, you can see the lines. You're just kind of cutting along the lines. It even gives you a little bit of space so you don't cut into the ruler. The ruler has 2 units of measurement, one being centimeter and one being inch. So talking about units of measurement, I would like you to turn and talk to your partner or write in your journal, what do you know about centimeter and inch? All right, next let's take some notes in our productive thinking journal. We're going to talk about choosing a measurement tool. So go ahead and get your paper, and you're going to make a little chart with 3 sections. First section says tool, the second section says units, and then the third section is what could you measure using that unit. You will need your ruler for this activity, so go ahead and get it. The first measurement we're going to write down is, or the type of tool is ruler, and I'm drawing a little picture of a ruler. Looks like part of my paper got a little chopped off, but just use your imagination and see if you can follow along. Your drawing does not have to be perfect. Just try your best. It's just a ruler. Or draw it the best way that you can. So what measurements units of measurement can you find on a ruler? Well, you can find centimeter, which is the size of the tip of your finger, and in between each number is 1 centimeter. If you see, my top of my finger fits in between the 1 centimeter units. You could also use a centimeter cube. And if you flip it around, we see inches. Remember, inches are knuckle to knuckle, and you can kind of see that my knuckle to knuckle approximately fits in between each inch. And here we are at 12 inches. So the ruler is 12 inches long. So units of measurement, I'm writing down centimeters right there. And the abbreviation for centimeters is cm. And then the other side of the ruler is inches, which is, remember, knuckle to knuckle. And the abbreviation for inches is IN. Okay? And the whole 12 inches, 1 ruler also equals 1 foot. So what kind of objects can you measure using a ruler? Okay, so think of some objects you can measure using a ruler. Maybe an eraser, maybe scissors, a pencil, small objects that you can find around your desk. You can use my notes or you can make up your own notes. Next, we have the yardstick. Yardstick is much longer than a ruler. And so just kind of do your best. I'm drawing kind of like a little person with their arms stretched out, so you can see that a yardstick is much longer than the 12-inch ruler. In fact, the 12-inch ruler fits into a yardstick 3 times. So, what kind of units of measurement can you find in a yardstick? Well, you can use inches, which the abbreviation for inches is IN. Feet, the abbreviation for feet is FT. And then yard, and the abbreviation for yard is YD. So objects that you can use are what could you measure using a yardstick? Well, objects that are longer than 1 foot, but smaller than 3 feet. And the width of our classroom door maybe, or the top of your desk. What else can you think of that maybe a yardstick would be great for measuring? Again, you can use your own notes or you can use Miss Seaver's notes. And then last but not least, we have the meter stick, which is also longer. Just uses a different type, a different metric. So on that one, we have millimeters, mm, and centimeters, cm. Oh, I made a boo-boo. Let me go back and erase that. Mistakes are okay. They happen. We learn from our mistakes. So I corrected it with a little bit of whiteout, and meter, M for meter. And what can a meter stick measure? What could we measure using a meter stick? Objects longer than a ruler, or 30 centimeters. You can also use a meter stick to measure a door or a window, so big objects. You can also use it to measure height. Yippee, we're ready for the next part. You are doing great. Are you ready for a story problem? Let's go. All right, let's get started on our story problem. This story problem's about Devin. Devin is measuring things in his bedroom, and he thinks his bed is about 2 yards long. Is this a reasonable estimate? Explain your answer using pictures or numbers. Remember to use the RDW process. And then think about, what do you already know? We know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. What else are things that you already know? Just a reminder that anytime these videos might be too fast for you, you can pause them and stop. So I hope you figured out the answer to the last problem. Now what we're going to do next is measure things in and around us. Maybe you can find something in your desk, on top of your desk, or close by. So let's measure things. Can we find 3 things to measure? So Here's an example. I found a little screwdriver on my desk. I'm estimating that it's 6 centimeters, but when I measured it, the ruler said 9 centimeters. And then I measured some hand sanitizer. I estimated my estimate, and then I actually measured it. Remember, an estimate is an educated guess, okay? So you're going to find your own 3 items to measure. If you can't find 3 items, feel free to just watch the video and take notes. After this, on our last video, we are just going to draw 3 random lines using our ruler, okay? So you're going to draw the lines, and then you're going to guess how many centimeters long the line is, and then you're going to guess how many inches long it is. And then I want you to think about or write about how are centimeters and inches different? Does it take more centimeters to measure the line or more inches? Okay, and then think the other way around. Does it take less centimeters or less inches to measure the lines? All right, well, happy measuring. I hope you're having fun with all these little measuring activities. You are doing great. Keep up the good work.